This podcast is rated S for spoilers. Listener discretion is advised. Don't forget to view our spoiler-free companion video on our Half Past Podcast channel on YouTube. Half Past Podcast. This is episode 46, the movie review of Ghostbusters. We will also be discussing nothing because it doesn't seem like
Oh, that's
no,
good.
the trailers aren't the greatest at the moment. We're kind of in that section of the movie year. But I'm Graham Ricks, and here with me is my friend and co-pilot, Ian Jones.
So, maybe you're in for a rough ride when the trailers you get before the movie are chick flicks and stuff that no one is going to go see, like a Meryl Streep movie.
That third movie with Tom Hanks, Inferno.
Right, Inferno,
like
which looks terrible. I mean,
it's like
even the trailer looks bad for it. Like, it's like, we got 48 hours to stop an apocalyptic event, but he's, like, not a superhero.
Yeah, and the thing that's funny about when I went to see Ghostbusters, another trailer that came up was Sully, which is also a Tom Hanks movie.
Ah, okay.
So, I think we know which one he spent more time on. I'm pretty sure. It's just, like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's like, I don't know. I guess maybe he might be spreading himself a little thin, because Tom Hanks is obviously talented, but when you watch Inferno, it doesn't look good. But then the director of that was Ron Howard, who's a decent director, so you're like, maybe that one would be good. But then the other one that he has, Sully, is Clint Eastwood. So it's just I don't know.
Right.
Like, I don't know what's going on.
I don't want to see either of those, quite frankly. So. Yeah,
the trailers have been rough. We see a lot of trailers because we go to so many movies. And so some of these, like, definitely I haven't seen for the first time. Like, I've seen them multiple times before. And then I'm just, like, not all that interested in it at all. And it's rough. But I mean, it makes sense because we're going to have like a dark period here coming up, right?
But I mean, the summer isn't even over, which is the thing that drives me crazy about this, is that, if it's going to be a big movie, which obviously some studios made the choice not to put in Star Trek, not to attach Star Trek to it.
Yeah.
Not to attach Rogue One to it, not to attach, Doctor Strange to it.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So, yep.
So it's kind of interesting. It makes me wonder how much other studios or whatever just don't trust this movie, Ghostbusters, because they didn't have anything attached to this movie. So it's pretty bad, personally. I don't know. The fact of the matter is we don't have a trailer for this week, so I guess we're gonna go ahead and get into the
trailer
movie
list
review.
for the first time ever.
We don't have a trailer at all. It's so ridiculous because we always have something that we can put up, but we have nothing. And so, if you don't have anything else because basically this is just a rant.
I don't. All right.
So you're done with ranting?
Fine.
So let's just go ahead and take our break, and then we're going to go ahead and get into Ghostbusters.
That's good. I'm exhausted already.
Following a ghost invasion of Manhattan, paranormal enthusiast Erin, Gilbert, and Abby Yates, nuclear engineer Jillian Holtzmann, and subway worker Patty Tolan band together to stop the otherworldly threat.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a terrible read. Anyway, I'm moving forward. So,
but I mean, it's not like you made that up, right?
No,
you got that
right?
from somewhere.
I got it from somewhere, which now that you've said that, there's going to be a copyright or something like that issue. People are going to know things now.
Paraphrasing, whatever.
No, you know what? We're not big enough anyway. Nobody's going to say anything.
No one gives a shit.
This movie's directed by Paul Feig, who also did Bridesmaids, The Heat, and Spy, which explains a lot of this cast that he has here.
Yeah, he also did. I'm trying to think of that Yahoo series, but a bunch of the actors from that Yahoo series, Outer Space or whatever it's called, are in this movie.
So it's like he's worked with a lot of these ladies before, so it explains a lot why he decided to go with these. This movie starring Melissa McCarthy as Abby Yates. She is known for the movies I just said, Bridesmaids, The Heat, and Spy. But she also had a little TV show called Mike and Molly. Kristen Wiig is Erin Gilbert. She's been in Knocked Up Paul, and of course she's one of the SNL people. Kate McKinnon is Jillian Holtzmann. She's another actor from SNL. And she's also in the Angry Birds movie and Finding Dory.
I think that Kate McKinnon is going to be a superstar one day. I can feel it. I'd put money on it.
Do not disagree with you on that. I think she's probably on the verge of a blow up here. So we'll see what happens in the next year or so, but I'd have to agree with you. Leslie Jones is Patty Tolan. She was in National Security, Lottery Ticket, Trainwreck, and of course, she's also an SNL person. Chris Hemsworth is Kevin Beckman, and all you need to know is he's Thor. That's it.
Thor. I argue this all the time. He should just play Thor in everything. Because then it would be hilarious. Yep. He can show up and just say one line and do, throw a coffee mug on the ground.
Oh, I love that scene so much. It's just such a crazy, I like this drink. Crash, another. It's just so good.
Thor trying to work a telephone. What is this magic?
Cecily Strong is Jennifer Lynch. She's another SNL. There you go. Andy Garcia is Mayor Bradley. He's a very well-known actor. He's been around for a while. Godfather Part 3, one of my favorite movies of all time, The Untouchables, and Internal Affairs.
I think he owed someone a favor.
Right? He seems like a very weird casting to just have Andy Garcia in this movie.
Yep.
I just thought it was always odd. I'm like, when I saw him in the trailer, I was like, is that Andy Garcia? What's he doing?
It's Andy Garcia. Or...
That's just so weird. Last one up here I have here is Charles Dance as Harold Fillmore. And he's probably most known for being Tywin Lannister in Game of Thrones. And I love this guy because every time I see him, I feel like he's a Sith Lord, yet he's never played one. It's just every time
he talks like it.
He does,
Even
right?
in this one where he's like, shouldn't he have been the bad guy? I feel like there was a missed opportunity here. Because he starts off, he screws him over.
Yep.
And then that's it for his character. And I was thinking, oh, no.
It seems like it would have been a better choice to have him as the villain.
With that voice, he could have so turned out to be like a modern day sorcerer. Oh, missed opportunities, man. God, that voice of his is amazing.
Yeah, it's great. That's it with our characters. So we're gonna take another quick break, and then we're gonna get into the nitty gritty here. All right, Jones, we're back here, and let's go ahead and get into the quirks and likes. I have a question for you that really bothered me about this movie at the end of the movie.
All right, shoot.
Why is the city just perfectly fine after the quite a bit of destruction of it?
Interesting.
Because there's a scene with the final ghost, which is the the logo essentially comes to life and starts taking over everything, and it comes out of the portal. Well, I mean, there is a lot of there's a lot of destruction going on with that, and it almost disappears. So he actually gets bigger and kind of destroys that entire building. And then after he's done destroying that building, they finally, like, at the end, they finally suck him through back into the portal and everything. Mm-hmm. But, like, the city's just fine. It's like it cuts back and the city's just okay. And it's just like such a weird...
It's also daytime, too, which doesn't make any sense.
Right?
Because it was nighttime when that scene started. So that was actually the thing that I picked up on, which really annoyed me.
Yeah, and so I was curious whether, am I just crazy? But that's what happened, right? Like, that's what I watched?
That is what you saw, yeah.
Okay, and so, like, that's a huge, like, misstep.
Yeah, it's a big continuity thing. You know, yeah. and it sort of was a ripoff, too. I wonder if I should even get into that now. But, I mean, that ending, to me, was really a ripoff of the original movie, except they didn't keep the destruction.
No, they didn't. But, I mean... You could definitely start ripping on that if you'd like, because it's the ending. You're correct. It is a ripoff of the original movie, and the thing is the other kind of issue I have with this movie is I was kind of hoping this movie, and I don't know if this is really a quirk, but it's really mainly just my opinion on the movie. This movie had a crap load of controversy with it, right?
Uh-huh.
And judging by some of these trailers, I was really hoping that the movie would have took a different kind of feel to it. I had gotten into conversations with some people about my opinion of what I was hoping this movie would be. And I was kind of hoping it was them really trying to earn the respect of the city to show that they're really Ghostbusters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of the point of this movie. And to me, that's a direct correlation to everything that happens with the controversy of this movie.
Correct.
The problem I have is I swear I was really hoping it was actually not a reboot and a continuation.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I was just like, was really hoping it was like 20 years later or whatever it needs to be, 30 years later. And then it's like the other Ghostbusters are gone and these are the new ones and they're trying to earn their way up and through that. The fact that this movie's a reboot kind of bothers me. I was actually hoping it was more of a continuation. So how do you feel about that?
I think this is the big problem with this movie. I think it's why it's dead in the water as a whole.
Yeah.
This is a huge issue because the movie doesn't, even as a reboot, it doesn't stand on its own. If you're going to completely reboot it, which is a stupid mistake, and that's a mistake by the director and the studio to do it this way, it makes no sense. You know, this sequel, this third movie, has been held for years.
Yes.
Because Bill Murray wouldn't play ball.
No, he wouldn't.
What is the point of having all these cameos and all these little rip-off nods to the original movie when you're not going to have it in the same world as the other ones?
Yes.
Why not expand on that universe because you already have it to draw from?
Yes.
You know, you're basically having to rehash everything, but then you're putting in things that don't really make sense, like references to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or cameos by every single living actor or dead actor who's been in the movie, which I don't get either. When you're trying to make a movie that stands on its own,
or that's supposed to stand on its own.
That's supposed to stand on its own, while they know while they're making it that everyone really doesn't like the idea that it's an all-female cast. And I mean, that's sort of across the board.
Yes.
And I think that that's a huge swing and a miss by this movie. The fact that it is a reboot and not a continuation is a big problem.
Yeah, I was thoroughly hoping it was a continuation, and that's just, it's not what it is, and it was unfortunate, I'd have to say. I'm going to say one more quirk here, since I think we've gotten the biggest issue out of the way. So I'm going to say one more thing, and that is I really did not like the villain at all in this movie.
Yeah.
And we made a really good point with, it would have been nice to have Darth Tywin as a villain in this movie.
And, I didn't even think about that until you mentioned it, because I forgot he was in it.
Yes.
I was actually thinking the entire time it would have been great had the Kevin character turned out to be the actual villain, and not in a possessed way, because I thought it made sense as far as like how stupid he was being, and like the fact that he shows up, I thought his timing was really suspicious.
Yeah.
Like it could have made sense that he could have been the guy behind the curtain, and he would have gotten really close to these girls. And the fact that it ended up being this creepy little dude who ends up just getting 86th anyway, to me, I thought made that wasn't really a memorable impression. It isn't a demigod, and it isn't like some, I thought a painting was really weak, but I mean, the actor behind it in the second one, he was like this conquering warlord.
Yes.
Slash sorcerer. So I felt they met, I thought that the villain wasn't really scary enough.
No, and he's not really, there's no build up to him at all. He's kind of just there. It's so weird to have a villain that feels like a side character.
Like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Like they don't spend any time, and you just show him, and they show him, like you're saying, like adjacently to the film, like there's just suddenly a scene where he's setting up a device, and he's the bad guy.
Yeah. So it's definitely a disappointing aspect to this movie when it comes to that. I don't know if you have any more on that point, but that's actually my quirk, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go here.
So I think we touched on the big one, and that is the fact that it's the reboot. The cameos and nods to the original films, like I was saying, I thought those were distracting as hell. I didn't think they were clever, and I thought there was no place for them. If it's such a huge mistake. If you're going to bring these actors back into the movie, why not bring them in as who they were instead of...
I am actually curious how these cameos came to be. I almost feel like they weren't planning on having these cameos in there, and then after the controversy, these guys came out. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, boy, that could be the case. I mean, because you can remove everything, and it still have the same movie.
Yeah.
I think you're right on the money there.
Yeah. It kind of feels that way.
All the men... I'm kind of on the fence of even talking about this one, but it really bothered me. All the men in this movie are either assholes, morons, or they're both. And that is across the board. It's like jarring. It isn't like a little bit. But I mean, think about every single male character in this movie. And I mean, they're all stupid.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of them are like really stupid, and then they're all assholes too. And it's just like, you got to be kidding me with this. And like, I feel like maybe there's and the reason why I bring this up is this, because look, women have been portrayed negatively in movies for years, and so I almost wouldn't have a problem with it, with the exception of this, and that is in the first two movies. There's one character who grounds those movies, and that's Dana Barrett. That's Sigourney Weaver.
Yes.
So I would argue that in a movie about ghosts, it's her character and her performance that ends up like grounding the whole film.
Yeah.
And like it makes it so that, Like, this is all conceivable-ish.
Yeah.
And this movie, I think, turns into a cartoon towards the end of it, and there's, like, no one to ground the movie. Like, everyone just gets swept away into it, and then it just becomes a green screen slugfest.
I'm going to be honest with you. I really think that I almost feel like a lot of these decisions that were made, because of the way that this movie is and the way this movie came to be, I almost feel like a lot of the decisions that were made were in response to how much negative publicity it got at the very beginning. So I almost feel like all these male characters that are either assholes or are morons is almost an allegory for all like the YouTube comments and crap like that. Like, I almost feel like it was purposely done because of that.
But I mean, then they also have negative YouTube comments featured in the movie too.
They do, which is actually one of my likes about this movie. Okay. But we can get into that later. But like, I almost feel like these decisions were made because of the controversy that this had. Because we all know this movie had problems way before production. Like, It was the minute they announced who they had casted, there was an just uproar from everybody.
Before that, because they didn't
before that, because they didn't even want the movie to get made.
Paul announced that it was going to be an all-female cast.
Yeah,
and everyone was like, "No, it's Ghostbusters." And I was kind of like, "Ugh." And then I saw the cast, and I was like, and I didn't say anything publicly about it, but I was like, And then I saw the cast, and I was like, yeah, awesome cast. And I still feel the same way about the cast. So
I still feel the same way about the cast too. I think the cast was good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think we're there. I think we're okay there.
Yeah. Right.
All right. I'm sorry. You are done with your stuff? Are you done with your
we've already gone into yours.
Okay, all right. I feel like we've just been going back and forth. Okay, with the exception of Holtzmann, I can't tell you anyone's names. Like, I'm not looking at my screen. I'm holding my... I can't tell you their names, and I hate that. Like, I didn't have that... I almost never have that problem, but it's an issue when there's 4 characters and there's only one of them, and it's not even the star of the movie.
You are not wrong on that, but I definitely remember Patty because she had a freaking necklace with her name on it the whole time. Right. Which, by the way, there is definitely a shot. Now, this is not a quirk. This is just me noticing just because I just now mentioned the necklace. There is a shot where they have mirrored a shot of her and Holtzmann when they're looking at all the different devices in the alley. There's a shot of Patty and Holtzmann, and it's for a split second, and it's a mirrored shot. So they shot it another direction, and they realized they needed to flip the image. And you can tell... And Patty is backwards on the necklace. And I'm like, what? That was weird. So clearly they had shot it a different direction, a different angle.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's mirrored. And I noticed it immediately.
But it could have been that the necklace got flipped over.
No, it still looked normal. It didn't look like it was twisted. It looked like it was still normal in that it had been mirrored. The image had just been mirrored.
Oh, that's weird.
So it didn't look like it was actually like flipped so that there was like a twist in the necklace. It looked normal.
Maybe they had a continuity issue with where people were standing.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure that's what happened, and that's just a stupid little technical.
So a lot of times, and it isn't just in this movie, but I will bring it up because we were video editors for years.
Yes.
And I was for like 8 years or so.
Yeah, you were for longer than I was.
But when people see continuity issues in movies, editors don't screw that up.
No.
Because you know, and it drives you crazy, but that's what you're given. You always pick the best performance. It's always about what's the best performance.
Yes.
So if that means Indiana Jones picks up a ketchup bottle off the table and it didn't fall in the scene before. That's because that one drove me nuts in the last Indiana Jones movie. The fact that there's a fight and all the little ketchup bottles and the mustard bottles, they move, they shake quite a bit, but they don't fall. And the very next scene is him picking the damn ketchup bottle up. It like really grates on me, and like it just grabbed me, right? It like grabbed me by the collar when I saw it the first time.
There's stuff like that happens in movies all the time.
All the time.
It's a little continuity thing, and most of the time the people who recognize it are people like us who have done it and look at movies that way. I was like,
God, that ketchup bottle was not on the table.
The same thing happens in Ocean's 11, where Brad Pitt's character, because he made the conscious decision that he's going to be eating things.
Yes.
Well, there is so many continuity errors where, like, what he's eating just changes between scenes. Like, he'll have a shrimp cocktail in one scene, and in the same conversation, he'll have a salad in his hand. And you're just like, well, what the hell just happened? And it's just one of those little things that just happens with those, when you're filming. Most people can't tell, so it's not
the number of shrimp changes, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
that is a lot of that is a lot of takes of having to eat shrimp cocktail.
Yeah,
yeah, and I guess I already mentioned the whole Dana Barrett thing, but I did feel like the ending got way out of control.
It did get
like with the ghost balloons. Like the first two ghosts, I thought were incredible, and I thought the really cool one was the lady.
Yeah, that one was really cool.
I was just hoping to see more. Like, I didn't get the dragon ghost. I was like, well, that's cool, I guess, but I don't understand how that's a thing. I don't understand ghost balloons.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing. I agree.
And then they have, like, colonial ghosts, but then, like, this giant ghost thing, like a giant Uncle Sam walking around.
Yeah, so it clearly looks like there was some sort of ghost parade going on.
And they were just destroying the ghosts with beams of energy, which I kind of liked. But I mean, that isn't really how it's supposed to work. Like, you gotta trap them. And they only ever had one trap in the entire movie.
They only had one trap. The only thing that now you might be able to correct me on this, but the only thing I can think of in that instance is, I believe, well, maybe that's wrong too, because that jailbird guy was blue. But anyway, a lot of the ones that they were fighting were blue, and the ones that they tried to capture were green. So I assume that there was different. They kept talking about different levels of ghosts. So I would assume that because of the levels that those were, they were able to destroy them with just the beams of the photon energy. But I don't
that would be a great thing.
I don't think that's consistent
to explain.
Yeah, but I don't think it's necessarily consistent in the movie. Now that I think about it, but that's
isn't Slimer supposed to have a tail? I mean,
yeah.
So why the hell didn't he have a tail in this movie? Right? I mean, I distinctly remember that.
Well, it is a reboot. He doesn't have a tail.
I don't. Female Slimers, and I mean, that's kind of funny, but
yeah,
I'm just shaking my head here. No, you better get Slimer right, damn you.
All right.
I mean, he definitely did in the cartoon.
He did in the cartoon.
And I don't know about in the first
quite remember
movie,
the movie, but
because they don't show him from behind in the first movie. I think maybe you see him from the side.
I don't remember that movie.
All right, that's it for me on quirks.
All right, so let's get into my likes. I have to say this. Holtzmann is just awesome in this movie.
Yeah.
She is the only one that has like a tremendous amount of character. And she just does it so well through the entire movie. She basically steals the show. And I really enjoyed watching every little tiny bits about her that she had. It was just so cool with her. I absolutely love the scene at the end where she's like, oh, I forgot about my my new toys, and she just starts taking everybody the hell out with those little pistol ones. And I'm just like, that's an awesome scene, and it works with that character so well. Like, she just, like, Kate McKinnon just knocked it out of the park with that character. I like I was saying earlier, I really enjoyed, there was a lot of scenes of them addressing the audience directly, like the YouTube scene, like the scene at the end of the movie where they're saying things like, well, I guess some people do like us. Like, there's stuff like that that's directly addressing the audience and, like, the haters of the movies. I just thought that was just a nice little thing because, you know me, I wanted this movie to be pretty good because I didn't want the internet to be validated. If that makes any sense.
Right. I mean, like the hateful.
Yeah, you know, just the hateful stuff is just such bullshit, and I just like.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, it's just and so for me that was a huge like for me that there was a lot of that in this movie. Hence why I think, truthfully, a lot of these other decisions were because of the hate they got. Like, I really feel like they chose to do that on purpose. And so in some instances, like we discussed earlier, it might have hurt the movie a little bit. That's actually all my likes, man. What do you got?
One of the things that I really liked is that the equipment in this movie looked like it was, like, independently engineered. Like, it looked like Holtzmann handmade everything.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't seem like it was nothing seemed like it was out of a factory or that it was too crazy. Like, it had that Doc, it had like that Doc Brown feel.
Yeah, everything looks like it was made out of a garage and not a science lab or a factory.
And so I really liked that, and I thought that made sense. Again, I really like the first two Ghosts and everything, but I really thought, like, the whole metal concert and, like, the Ozzy Osbourne cameo. I'm just like, why is this shit in here?
Why is that in there? Yeah, it's just weird.
It's like so a decade ago, and even then, I think it just would have been like
I'm
weird.
Pretty sure
it's like seeing Vanilla Ice show up in Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I remember when that scene pops up, there was like almost no reaction from the audience, and it's because it's a really old joke.
Right. It's like all of a sudden like someone popping up and saying, "What's up?" So you're just like, when was this written?
Okay.
It's like the Taco Bell dog is there. And you're just like, this is timeless. No, it isn't. They aren't even married anymore. They got divorced between the time you shot this and the time the movie came out.
Yep. All right.
I did like the camaraderie between the girls because I think, there's sort of a stereotype that you can't really bring together girls like this and sort of like a team dynamic.
Yeah.
And I think that that's wrong. But in the real world, I have seen it blow up in the past, but it's usually because there isn't like a specific leader. And I think that they don't have that issue. I hate saying this. I have seen it blow up, but I've also seen it work. And now I'm trying not to just laugh hysterically. but I mean, but it's like, that comedian John Mulaney does this thing like, well, Ocean's 11 never would have worked if it was all women because two of them would have kept leaving to talk trash about the others.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, like, I'm so glad there wasn't really any of that because there almost was a little bit of it, like, at the beginning.
Well, I'm just glad that up to this point, we've been very, like, almost feminist-oriented, and then you manage to, in just, like, a small period of time, just completely turn that off.
But what I'm saying is it doesn't hit that stereotype, which I don't agree with.
I don't agree with it also. I think it's perfectly fine. You can have these group of women work together and be a team, and they do it in this movie. Now, that's not on my likes, but now that you say it, it's I did enjoy the camaraderie between all of them. Like, they seemed genuinely friendly with each other and really just trying to be a team, even though there was conflict early on with, Erin and Melissa McCarthy's character. I can't remember her name. Again, the problem we were talking about earlier.
That big problem I have, which is number 3.
And so, a lot of movies, that's definitely not a sex-oriented thing. Sometimes the feeling isn't there in the movie. Like, even when you have the all-male team, sometimes
it is
just
correct.
not there. And in this movie, it is there. And you can say, and there's something great, because I like when you see this in movies where these are all actors and they're filming and there's cameras around and everything's there. Watching this movie, I think these ladies really enjoy being on set and just having fun acting in this movie. And when that happens, especially when it's a team-oriented comedy like this, it really helps the movie out, because frankly, we were talking about this earlier, the original Ghostbusters movie, that's what drives it. It's the dynamic between all these characters pushing you through the movie. I mean, the story of Ghostbusters is really light. It's really just kind of a simple little story. The thing that makes it so good is you got all these comedic actors that are just like pushing through the story, and it's fun and it's great. And I feel like this movie kind of captures that, and I think that's good.
I think that, so there were, I thought it was pretty funny throughout. I kind of thought some of the stuff was a little bit of a swing and a miss, but one of the dynamics I liked a lot was this issue they kept having with the Chinese food place, and with not
Benny?
getting the soup correct. I thought that was great, and then to have it pay off at the end where he just brings her nothing but wontons, and she's like, "This is ridiculous. I'm asking for a reasonable ratio." It's just like chock full of those things, and it's just like, awesome.
That was like a lot of the scenes with Benny, the Chinese food guy, was pretty cool. They were fun.
All right, that's it for me, man.
All right, let's go ahead and rate it. So, I think the movie is genuinely fun, and I think it has quite a bit of funny moments, and I think it's good enough to shut up some haters. But I'm really just kind of like, I really feel like it's not quite enough for me to say see it. So I'm like borderline rent it, but not in the negative end. I'm in the positive end of that. Like, I'm almost see it, but I'm gonna say rent it.
Yeah, I wish more people were giving this a fair shake. It's under 5 stars on IMDb, which is not accurate at all. So I feel like some of those are early.
Yeah.
Probably early ratings. I thought the movie was entertaining.
Well, I think on Rotten Tomatoes, like, at least the critics, I think, is at like 70-something% or whatever. But which is pretty good for a comedy, to be honest, because critics hate them. So
that's true, they do. I'm gonna say that it is entertaining.
Yeah.
And but I don't think it's that good. I think that the core 4 I think is really strong. I think the 4 actresses are strong, and I would like to see another movie.
Did you see the end credits?
No, I actually left.
Okay.
I had to leave, unfortunately.
Do you know about the end credits?
No, I do not.
At the very end, if you sit through the credits, there's an end scene with all of them working together inside the firehouse or whatever, and it has Patty listening to the tape recorder for EVP, the electronic voice phenomenon thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she stops, and then she looks at everybody, and her response is, "Who is Zool?" And then it ends.
Huh. Interesting.
Yes. So it's entirely possible that we could get a sequel out of this, especially with the end credits scene. And like you said, I think the core 4 is good. I want them to make another one and improve upon this one. Like, I want them to make a better sequel than Ghostbusters 2. Because Ghostbusters 2 really isn't all that great. It's like, okay. It's not nearly as good as the first one. So I'm hoping this one can get a sequel and actually be better than the first one. Mainly because I'm hoping that I'm right about this and that a lot of these decisions they made in this movie was to counteract the negativity. And the second movie, they can just do the movie, if that makes sense.
I want some memorable lines and stuff. Like, I feel like I didn't get that. I feel like I didn't get, like I'm not sure what the takeaway from this is, but, like the first movie had some really memorable lines in it, and I just don't think of that when I think of this movie. So I would like, so if it's going to be its own thing, let it be its own thing. I guess that's where I kind of have an issue with them reusing the same bad guy, unless they do something really cool with her.
I think it would be cool if they do something really good with her. And it's like we said, I think the biggest issue with this movie is the fact that it's, instead of a continuation, it's a reboot. And I kind of wish it was a continuation. But if they're going to reboot it, I feel like this movie was to quiet people down a little bit. And I'm hoping in the next one they just do the memorable lines, do the normal movie, and just move forward with the franchise. And I think that that's a good thing, because the four ladies, those women are all great. I really enjoyed all the characters that they had in this, and I enjoyed the connection that they had between the four of them. So I want to see more of it. And you and I are not known for like asking for sequels.
Right, yeah.
So I think it's a little more special that we're both kind of like, well, I kind of want to see more of these women. So it is what it is. Anything else you got?
No, yeah, there is one thing. Let me bring up this actor's name, because when I saw his face first, I was like, oh, I'm walking out of this theater. Zach Woods.
Okay.
Are you looking at your computer? This creepy guy from The Office who I cannot stand.
Yeah,
man,
he's in
was
the
I
very
hoping.
Beginning scene.
No, I was like, this sucks. This is a terrible opening.
It is a bad opening. You know what? If we could just add that to the quirks.
Okay. Now the only thing I was thinking, the only thing I was thinking, I was like, oh, this doesn't bode well. This is not this. You could have opened up Josh Gad, and I think I would have been happier.
It gets better though. That's the good thing.
It gets better because you think he dies, and then he doesn't, and then I'm not sure how I feel about it. I still want to just walk away.
Oh, you're definitely right. The beginning scene is not the best for this movie.
No.
All right, now that we're done, Joes, let's go ahead and sign out. We're running long as usual. So,
all right.
If anybody wants to contact us, you can always get us on our home on the web, halfpastpodcast.com.
Like us on Facebook.
Rate us on iTunes and Google Play.
We're on Stitcher and Libsyn.
You can always email us at halfpastcast@gmail.com. That's halfpastcast@gmail.com.
Hey, it's spelled right this time. Tweet us at half. Tweet us at Half-Past Podcast.
You were giving me a little crap in the previous podcast and how that's been misspelled.
I'm just glad I got my lines back. I'm glad I got my lines back, bitch.
All right. Thank you for listening and thank you for your support. Next week we have Star Trek Beyond. I'm kind of excited about this one. Everybody, this movie's also been getting a lot of hate. I'm really sick and tired of the internet.
It's not JJ.
And everybody's complaining because it's not JJ. And I can't stand hearing people say, well, this is like Fast and Furious Star Trek. And I'm like, you're just so wrong on that issue.
Well, they just shouldn't have said who the director was.
I totally get that. But you know that statement is unwarranted. You know it's unwarranted. Because
you know what? They walked into it. Paramount walked into it.
That is fine. But here's the deal. You cannot assume that it's going to be like Fast and Furious. Because Fast and the Furious, the past, 5 movies, that's how many there's been, but, they've all been heist movies. It is now a heist franchise. That's what it is. So, unless this is Star Trek heist movie, it's not even the right statement to say anymore. So I don't even know what anybody's saying. All the ones that Justin Lin has directed were all heist ones. So I don't even know what everybody's problem is.
Vin Diesel does a cameo, we're going to be eating some stuff.
You know what? I hope he shows up as in some alien makeup. We don't even notice.
He's just green. He's just green Diesel.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Oh, man. This is the Half Past Podcast. I'm Graham Ricks.
Jonesy.
See you next flick.